Half a day, Flosstube. This is Lynette at Homesteading on the Home Front, coming to you for my 8th episode. It is Wednesday, December 13th, 2018. I know in my last video I told you you wouldn't see me until the week of the 18th, but I have a lot to talk about, and so I figured I would do a video now so that we weren't here for hours and hours next week. I will still do my 500th subscriber giveaway drawing next week, like I said I would. So you have time to get in on that if you're interested. Check out video 7B or 7 part 2 or whatever I called it for information on what I'm giving away and how to enter. I'm gonna try to speed through this because I just did take one and my camera cut off on me. So I'm gonna try to talk fast and get this done within 30 minutes so there's no cutoff. So with that being said, let's get right to it. First things first, I need to thank Carrie at the House of Floss and Fluff because I was the lucky winner of her giveaway. And so her package arrived the other day. Lots of neat patterns that I can't wait to stitch. This little ornament that made me tear up, and if I have time I will get into the reason for that at the end of the video. Lots of hand-dyed fabric. The oldest has claimed this piece because her favorite color is blue, and the youngest has claimed this piece, which is showing up blue but it's really purple, her favorite color. So thank you so much, Carrie. We are definitely going to put all of those things to good use. Second thank you goes to Sharon. I checked the mail right before I did this, and there was an envelope from her, and I haven't even had a chance to go through it. But there were two things that immediately caught my attention, and so I wanted to show them to you. The first is the Jane Pattison 1806 sampler from Shakespeare's Peddler, which... So everyone's been watching Teresa, right? Kitten Stitcher. I feel like I know her. I feel like she's a friend of mine. And so when I saw this, I was like, I have to stitch that because I know who designed that. So designers who are out there, I think like the smartest business decision you could make is to get yourself on Flosstube, because when we feel like we know you, like, all the more reason we want to stitch your stuff. Like, I love Kathy Haberman's stories that she tells about designing the patterns. Like, how many people went out and bought pumpkin spice because she told the story about it, right? So designers, get yourself on Flosstube, man. Okay, the second thing that caught my eye is this Mary Beale stocking. And that is because I actually had been communicating with Mary herself this very week. And I will tell you the story about that. Grandma Lepper, who is my husband's grandmother, and I've showed you stuff that she has stitched in the past. We have a couple Christmas ornaments that she stitched. And since probably 2002 or 2003, I have been trying to determine who it was that stitched the ornaments. I would have bet my life that they were Mary Beale, but I could never find pictures of them online to confirm that. I looked on her website because all of her patterns, she's digitized them and put them online, which is brilliant. And there was nothing. And so this past week, I think it was in the Little House Needlework group, might have been the Prairie Schooler group, somebody posted a picture of an ornament, and in the background I caught a glimpse of one of the ornaments that Grandma had stitched. And so I messaged that person and I said, could you please tell me who the designer of that ornament is? I've been desperately searching for years to find out who it is. And she was nice enough to follow up with me, and she said it is Mary Beale. They're her nativity ornaments, and there's a set of 8 of them on eBay right now for $150. So I immediately got on Mary's website and sent her an email and explained the situation. I'm desperate for these patterns. I can't find them anywhere. They're not on your website. She has a whole area. She's got stockings, and then she has Christmas ornaments. They're not listed in her Christmas ornament section. So right away she emailed me back and said, I have digitized them, they're available, they're in my pocketbook needlework booklet that I published in 1999. I'm getting ready to redo my website, so they're going to disappear for a while, but they will be back. So immediately I went and I downloaded it because I didn't want to wait until the ornaments disappeared. So now I have the Mary Beale ornaments, and I can work on stitching those, which makes me very happy. My plan is to make 2 sets so that each girl has a set, and each girl will get one of the ornaments that their great-grandmother stitched, and then the other 7 will be the ones that I've stitched. So eventually I want to do her stockings too. I have some in storage. I have not gotten around to making them, but it is my life's goal to make them for the girls and my husband and I and their children and husbands and yada yada. So thank you, Sharon, for sending that. Like I said, just absolutely overwhelmed when I opened the package. Okay, on to my stitching. I have an FFO to show you. This is a little house from the 2004 Just Cross Stitch magazine. When I was stitching this up, there was a letter C here, and I was like, well, I don't know why there's a C there. Is that like the designer's last name, or is C for Christmas? Is this part of a series of alphabets or something? Like C for crow? Like, I didn't know. So I just decided to put an L there. Well, I finished it all up, and then, sure as shooting, I see several other ornaments. Some, in fact, probably all of them were not even Little House ornaments, but they all had C's on them too, and I couldn't figure it out until it dawned on me that it was supposed to be a crescent moon. So now I have a one-of-a-kind ornament with our initial instead of the moon. But in my defense, it was charted exactly like a capital C would be charted on any sampler. Just an FYI, if any of you can't figure out why there's a letter C in a design, it might be the moon. Okay, so I've been stitching this week. Several of you have commented in my past videos that they appreciate how frugal I am. This is going to prove to you how frugal I am. Because I ordered this piece of polka dot fabric from 123 Stitch because I had seen an ornament stitched on it and I wanted to do it too. So I ordered the smallest piece I could, which was 9 by 13. And I got it and I said, I can fit more than one ornament on that. So 4 ornaments later, we're full. Yes, they are stitched pretty close together, but I know there's enough room in there that I can finish these up. So going through these quickly because I want to get through everything. This tree is called First Snow, and it's from the Drawn Thread. As you can see, the design has charted snowflakes, but stitching it on the polka dot meant I didn't have to do that, which I loved. This design you've all seen. It's in the latest Just Cross Stitch ornaments. I know Caroline at Off the Grid received this as a gift from a friend. I know Vonna stitched this as a ornament for her swap at the Pigeon Forge retreat. So this has been all over. This Joyeux Noël originally had a snowman on it as well, and it's a free chart. It's from Casa Mia, so I'm not giving any secrets away, but I wanted it to be ornament size, so I took the snowman off. I may actually stitch the snowman separately at a later time, but you couldn't see the wording in white, so I stitched it in blue because this is for my eldest and blue is her favorite color. And then the next ornament is a freebie from, oh gosh, this designer right there. French, Italian, I don't know. Quarry e Bataquari. But this is the one that I had seen on the polka dot, I think, and I really wanted to do it. So I love the way that that came out. So hopefully I will have those finished up within the week, and I can get them on the tree before Christmas. Some others that I've been working on, again, just a scrap piece of Aida. I do use a hoop when I'm stitching on linen, but when I'm stitching on Aida, I don't mind stitching in hand. This is Prairie Schooler from the 2010 Just Cross Stitch edition. And this is also Prairie Schooler from the 2002 Ornament edition. So I've just got a little to do here and I'll be done that, and then I've got room for a third ornament there. So that's what's keeping me busy this week. On to exciting news, because it's been an exciting week in the world of cross stitch. I haven't heard any other Flosstubers talking about it, but a few days ago, Kathy Barrick posted on her blog that The Good Housewife is going to be re-releasing her designs, which made me very happy. I have been stitching for 30 years, but I did not find The Good Housewife until after she had stopped designing. I only own one of her patterns that was gifted to me. One of the nice ladies on the Primitive Stitchers Society Facebook page had stitched it. She knew I was a beekeeper. She knew that I would truly appreciate it. And so she just gifted me the chart for Bee Man's Garden, which I absolutely treasure, and I'm hoping to stitch up soon. There's a companion piece to that one that I would love to do, and she's got a lot of gardening / seed saving designs that I am just thrilled that I'm going to be able to get to stitch. She said they're all going to be $10. She's not going to release them at once, but if you can be patient and wait, then they will be out. So thrilled about that. Also thrilled that Kathy Haberman and Priscilla are going to be working together for a farmhouse chalk series. I am not thrilled about the prospect of stitching on dark fabric again. You all know how much I loved stitching the Peace and Plenty. So I know that I'm not going to be using the gunmetal linen. I can't make myself do it. Yvonne said she's going to be stitching on slate, which I believe is hand dyed by Stephanie. But if any of you have any ideas for dark gray / black chalkboardy fabric that isn't a bear to stitch on, please let me know. Also exciting news, I got my supplies for the Little House Needleworks Farmhouse series that's coming out. I chose to go with the called for natural linen, but I'm using 35 count because that's what 123 Stitch had on clearance. I got a 13 by 18 piece. I got several of them, but I think it was like $4.25 or something. It was ridiculously cheap. I'm hoping to be able to fit 4 designs on here because, first of all, it's 35 count, so they're going to be smaller anyway. And second of all, I'm going to be making ornaments, so I don't need a lot of margin around them. But I wanted to show you, this right here is a piece of 20 count Charles Craft natural linen that I had in my stash. And I know my lighting is not great today, but I hope you can see how close in color they are. The Charles Craft is a little darker, but not much. And of course it looks different and feels different because the weave is different. This is 20 count, this is 35. But if you are having problems getting the 32 count natural that was called for because it is being discontinued, I wouldn't hesitate to go natural from anybody because I think they're going to be pretty much the same. I also got some of the flosses required. If you remember from my last video, I did not order the bamboo because it did not look variegated, and I have since been told that that was a wise decision. If anyone has a DMC equivalent for bamboo, please let me know. I've been told that it's brighter than ecru, so I don't want to use ecru, but I know there are several other whites and light tans out there, so if there's an equivalent that you can recommend, please do so. The cherry cobbler is variegated, so that'll be good. If you want to use a DMC floss for your project, I would recommend 221. I compared this with my DMC color chart, and 221 was the closest to this one. Weeping Willow is also slightly variegated. I did try to find some DMC equivalents if you wanted to stitch in DMC, or if you wanted to make your own variegated look like I did in a couple videos ago. 3364 and 3052 are absolutely excellent DMC substitutes for this. I would use those two colors and make them variegated like I did in my video, and I think it's going to look almost exactly the same. Now, Roasted Chestnut is also slightly variegated. It is two very different shades of brown. And so I tried to find DMC equivalents. 433 is one of them. That's kind of like the more, I don't know if you'd say orangey tone. And then I can't read what I wrote down for the second number. It looks like 3001, but that's not a DMC color. Maybe it's supposed to be 301. If you're interested, let me know and I'll go check again. But again, you can certainly use the two DMC colors, make your own variegation, and it'll look very similar. Now the Pebble Beach, there's no variegation here. Had I known this, had I been able to see this, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have just found a DMC equivalent. However, there is no real exact DMC equivalent to this one. I wrote down some numbers that would be good substitutes, but it's not going to be exact. And those numbers are 640. And I wrote down, I don't know if it's supposed to be 641 or 642. And then 3790. So definitely 640 and 3790. If you want that third number, let me know and I'll go look it up for you. So that's it as far as farmhouse supplies go. I am ready. I hope you are too. I can't wait to get stitching this one. All right. Ooh, I did fly through because I'm only at 17 minutes. Took me about 25 minutes to do that the first time around. Okay, so back to this one. I don't do a lot of personal information in my videos because I'm here for the stitching, and I think a lot of you are too, but I wanted to share this news with you because it's exciting, and because we can all use a little more good news. So last summer, it was time for my husband to think about where he would like to go next. We are scheduled to leave Guam summer of 2018, and usually a year ahead of time, the detailer starts asking what jobs you'd like and where you want to go, and you may or may not get sent there, but he likes to know anyway. We are fortunate in that my husband's community in the Navy is pretty small, and up until Guam, we had always gotten our first or second choices in jobs. So Guam was actually our bottom three. The places we did not want to go were Japan, Korea, and Guam. My husband is an engineer in the Navy, which means he can go anywhere in the world that there's a Navy base. He can go anywhere in the world that there's a Marine Corps base, which is a little different because if you're a sub guy, you can only go the 4 or 5 places in the world where there are subs. If you are a ship guy, you are probably not going to get sent to a base that doesn't have ships unless you're doing a shore duty. So we have more places available to us. However, not all of those jobs are available when you need them to be available. usually most people are on 3-year orders, which means at any given time or any given year, only 1/3 of the jobs are going to be available because the others are occupied by people who aren't moving at the same time you are. So all of that to say, the detailer said, I want your top 3 lists of geographical choices, I want your top 3 lists of job choices, and I want your top 3 list of overseas locations. Well, we knew we weren't going overseas again, so we didn't even bother choosing overseas locations. And it was really, really hard to look at the list and choose locations that we wanted to be at. There were jobs that my husband wanted in places he didn't want to go. And there were places we wanted to go, but jobs that my husband didn't want there. So we poured over the list, and our number 1 choice was New London. There was a job in New London. We always try to go back to New England if we can. We met when my husband was stationed in Newport, Rhode Island, and we always try to go back because that's home for me. We have never been able to go back to New England. We've lived in Annapolis, Maryland, which was as close as we've gotten. We've lived in, he was stationed at Great Lakes in Illinois. We have lived in Gulfport, Mississippi, and we have lived in Virginia. So, of course, Newport wasn't on the list again this time, but New London was, so that was number 1. And we couldn't find any place we really wanted to be. So, as a number 2 choice, my husband wrote down anywhere on the East Coast, close to New England, and a job that might suddenly open up. And then his number 3rd choice was Washington, D.C., which he has avoided like the plague because it's expensive to live there. The commute is ridiculous. Like, it's just not conducive to good family time. So he's avoided it until now. So out of all the choices the detailer wanted, we gave him 3. And he came back and said, New London is promised to somebody else. That's not available. There's nothing for you in D.C. The closest I can get for you to New England is Yorktown, Virginia. Which was okay. We knew that area. It was an hour away from Chesapeake where we had lived before. I have lots and lots of lifelong friends in that area. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. However, for various reasons, we really wanted to be closer to home. So it involved a lot of prayer on a lot of people's parts. I know this. But last week, the detailer sent my husband an email and said there had been a last-minute change and he would have orders soon. And we still don't have orders. They have been initiated. But the detail announcement came out, and that's just the email that tells everybody where everyone else is going. And once that comes out, you know there's probably not a likelihood of change. So the detail announcement came out yesterday, which meant that we were finally able to tell our friends and family that he is getting orders to Newport, Rhode Island. And so when I got this from Carrie, we had gotten the email from the detailer. We were still thinking it was too good to be true. But yeah, next year, home for Christmas. We know it's just a huge answer to prayer. We know we had a lot of prayer warriors working on that for us. So thrilled to be returning to New England. I just can't wait. So that's our big news. As you can see, I'm a little excited. This was my reaction when my husband told me about the detailer. I couldn't talk. I had no words. I just cried because it's been a very challenging 3 years here. I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot as a person, but it's been a very difficult time. We've had a lot of good times and we've made a lot of memories. but this will never, ever be my favorite place to have lived. So to know that we get to leave here and go back to New England just makes my heart sing. So anyway, with that, I will sign off. We will be back next week when the kids are off of school. Like I said, the littlest has lots to show you, and hopefully I will have some FFOs to show you with those ornaments as well. So until I see you again, happy baking, happy shopping, happy wrapping, happy all of those holiday preparations. Make time for stitching because it's the best de-stressor there is. And I wish you fair winds and following seas.